Formal, we're going to be bringing you the most exciting 3 series, possibly 4 series of this tournament. It's Finals Tuesday. I don't even know what day of week it is. There it is, Finals Tuesday, and I think we've got some really banging games ahead of us. Our previous matches, our first sort of preview of the finals, I guess, was some fantastic exhibitions, there it is, of Rocket League, and I expect these games to sort of live up to that hype and even bring it to a new level.
Yeah, I'm actually really keen for today, especially from what we saw last week as we did get into sort of the more playoff stage. A lot of the gameplay rose up from where we had seen previously, and now that we're down to only 4 teams remaining, only one of which, of course, can be our champion at the end of the day. Sorry, was it 4? It would be, yeah, no, it is 4. Okay, my math is correct. Yeah, 4 teams remaining, one a champion at the end of the day. I do feel as if we're going to see that elevation yet again, not to mention with the potential or the idea of a bracket reset. It's truly going to be a gauntlet run for these teams that start off a bit earlier than others.
Yeah, and it's kind of exciting doing a couple of those lower bracket matches before we get to our grand final stage for that exact reason. You know, it becomes this sort of gauntlet. Like, you don't just have to beat one team, then wait to see who your opponents are. You have to go game for the teams. At least the first teams we're going to be playing. We're going to be seeing playing. Before we get to that, do you want to have a quick run through of the sponsors, Formal?
Yeah, absolutely. As always, you know, here at AEL, we have a bunch of wonderful sponsors that help keep these events running smoothly, starting, of course, with AOC, our monitor sponsor for this event. Some of the best monitors out there for any sort of needs. We're talking gaming, we're talking work. If you want to watch Netflix in that highest quality, well, I say you go for it. Get yourself some of those AOC monitors. I mean, personally, we're more on the gaming side. We want that pixel-perfect precision, especially if, you know, we're playing games like that Valorant or perhaps your CSGO or, heck, even Rocket League. I don't know. It's a lot easier to pull off a double touch if you know exactly where that ball is going to be coming at you from. So please check out AOC. Also, it's all about, you know, your audio cues as well, and for that there's RIG headsets. So go ahead and check them out. Some of the best audio headsets that you can find out there. Again, not just for gaming, music as well, but, you know, all sorts of needs. Go have a look at what they have on store and offer. Then, well, we've talked about the monitor, we've talked about the audio, we haven't talked about the system itself, the physical computer, the laptop, the one that sits in your lap, Predator. Good old Predator laptops, Acer Predator to be a bit more specific. Some of the best gaming laptops out there. They always come with like pretty much like top of the end equipment inside. Like they're ready to go. You don't need to sort of buy new graphics cards or anything for them. They're already kitted out, and you can play top of the line games straight away buying them. So go please have a look at what they have in store for you. Then, of course, it comes to, well, more my speed, I'd like to say. I'm hungry a lot. I eat a lot. And just last night, I came home late, wasn't in the mood to do a major cook, so I just got some Indomie noodles, slapped a steak on there, as I tend to do, and bam, I was set to go. Indomie. They are fantastic for situations like this. 14 different products, freshest ingredients exported from Indonesia. They have a lot of different things you can try out. Again, I had the potato crisps recently. Those were amazing as well. So if you aren't aware of Indomie just yet, please go, you know, have an easy meal. Have an easy meal. And of course, what goes with the Indomie, sometimes they're a bit spicy, sometimes you need a little bit of a drink, and that's where Chatime, the presenting partner, does come back in. And now Chatime, they have hundreds of different combinations, which means hundreds of different flavors. Even though I'm a stickler and always go that same way, I'm curious what you guys do. They have, I believe it's like over 140 stores now across Australia, something ridiculous like that. They're doing also a promo as well where you can get some gift cards and then you get some free toppers. I'm not too sure. That could have been a store-specific one, so don't go too much into that unless, of course, you're at the St. Lucia UQ campus. But, yeah, definitely a lot of fun for Chatime. I mean, just the fact that I know exactly which campus and which deals it has shows how great I feel these bubble teas are. So, again, a big thank you to them and all of our sponsors for this event.
Yeah, thank you so much to them. And yeah, like you said, like 140, I'm pretty sure it is 140 around Australia. Every now and again, like I'm stuck in this situation and this really weird like spot called Canberra. And they're too cool to like flood the place with it. So it's like I think it's like 7-8 minutes drive for me to get one, and that's a lot for Chatime.
Ooh.
They're everywhere. Like
Ooh.
that's a fair bit, unless you're like country towns and things like that. That's a long drive to get a
within
Chatime.
walking distance. For me.
Yeah, see. Anyway, that's look. It's not enough about Chatime, but enough about Chatime. Let's have a look at our upcoming games. Here is your bracket. Of course, a lot of those games have been filled out. We've seen quite a few of them on stream as well. And yeah, some of these have been fantastic. I kind of mentioned it before at the top of the broadcast. Some of these games have been exceptional quality. There's been a lot of teams we've found ourselves kind of just rooting for because of how awesome their performances are. I'm just kind of look around my mic because I put it in the worst spot. It's right where I need to read right now. But yeah, you know, the games we're going to have coming up next is, of course, XVA versus Curtain. We saw XVA knock off Vanguard, who were my favorites to take the entire tournament. Curtain took out Romper Stomper, which is, you know, great name, but, you know, unfortunately they fell to Curtain. And whoever wins that is going to be coming up against Sylvia, and whoever wins that is going to be taking on, yeah, right. So this is our little mini gauntlet we've got set out, and these games should just be nothing but excitement.
Yeah, I think they will, and I also think the players are getting ready to kick this off, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the word, okay, that they can go and we can kick our, what I want to call the losers semifinal off. Players jumping onto the pitch. Again, XVA, they are the side in blue. In orange, it is Curtin University, who only seem to have 2 members loading onto the pitch at the moment. Drip is there. Finally does get on. All right, so there we go. Everyone has arrived to the scene. We're playing some Rocket League Fetch. It is Junk, it is Misty O, and it is Spotto on XVA. Caden, Mozzie, as well as Drip for the side of Curtain. And already off of this kickoff, it's going to be XVA, our probable favorites on the initial attack.
Yeah, expected favorites. I don't know. I'm not like super convinced on either of these teams. I don't think that there's going to be one who is just the dominant, unstoppable force. But I do like XVA. I mean, they had a couple, XV, we kind of thought had a couple of these teams. You had XVB and XVA. And both of them, I think, from memory, looked pretty good. So when you've got another team who is there to scrim against, possibly, to kind of keep driving that rivalry, you really do build up in skill. And, of course, the players look pretty good. But actually, that's Caden kind of just finding the back of the net for Curtin. It was an awkward, slow play. I wasn't actually convinced that one was going to go in. I thought there had to be a third player there. But it did. Yeah. And, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Open score for Curtain so far.
Yeah, Yonk just had a weird read on that one. I don't think they were expecting the height from the touch and for it to remain that accurate, as they initially had a very, very tight rotation try to cut off and then faded back to deep. Looked like they were going for the boost, but just wound up mistiming any sort of play on the ball. So congrats already to the Curtain side. They're up 1-0. Spotto's shot will be a bit wide, and thus the score will remain 1-0. I'm still liking both teams' spacing at minimum. At least right now, their teammates are giving each other space. They're not really getting in each other's way. The rotational play is strong. That one goal just came from a misread, so that tells me we could be seeing a very closely contested match.
Yeah, I like that. I like that use of spacing, setting up pass plays, potentially that 50, going almost in favor of Caden. Very, very desperate kind of play in the air there. Is almost just an attack set up by XV. It's not quite fast enough. They didn't quite have the passing plays, but a big counterattack might come out from Drip if they can play this off the corner. Could look pretty devastating. The rotations did come back fast enough. 2 players both jumping up there on the attack, trying to pull this one into the center. Drip does get a demo and manage to pull the ball back to their defensive line to shut down that attack for a little bit longer at least. Mozzie has an opportunity. The pass setup was great from Caden, but no one there to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Curtin was expecting Caden to try to turn that into a shot or a pass, and there was hesitation across the middle of the pitch, although I'm loving that bump from behind. Mozzie almost opens the doorway for Caden. They can't quite get it through. Look, what I'm seeing already is that Curtin is slightly a faster team, and they're playing a little further forward than what we're seeing from XVA. XVA likes keeping all 3 members back in the box or on the backboard, waiting for counterattacking opportunities like this. And, well, when it works, they do get goals, so we have a tie ball game.
Yeah, I was thinking about it in terms of Curtin being a little bit ahead of the play in general. You're right, pushing up, having that extra player. But there it is. They're kind of caught a little bit behind in that one as they get caught out in the counterattack. It levels up the scores to 1-1 though. As these series go, we always say it. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are probably quite sick of it, quite sick of hearing it. But yeah, these games do tend to speed up. There's Mozzie, quite a fair way forward. Doesn't get a touch onto it. Was going to try and set up something for the teammate in the back there. Spotto and Moisty both trying to get a gentle touch onto that one. Doesn't quite work out. And the Curtain pass back, it was really good in that first part of the game, but it almost looked a little too risky there.
Yeah, there was 2 defenders back, so I think they were going to be fine in that situation. What they weren't expecting was XVA to step forward and look to challenge that pass back, and that was the big difference between the one we saw there and the one we saw before. And I love it. Those are those minute adjustments that you can make mid-game when you recognize the pattern and look to capitalize on situations. Now, I'm not going to necessarily claim that's exactly what happened. I think XVA would have been able to capitalize on it had they recognized it the first time. I don't know, subconsciously you could be a bit more aware. Either way, tie ball game, 2 minutes to go. I'm still liking Curtin's approach a little bit more, but as long as XVA keeps fighting these booming clears, they'll have their opportunities. That not this time. Demo, open goal, 2-1 lead.
It has been like counterattacks and things like that, catching people off rotation with the first 2 goals. Caden, I mean, made it look a little bit stylish. That's I don't know. You're the freestyle expert. Where would you kind of rate that one? I know it's not the most exciting play. Pretty low. Okay.
Low. There was freestyle there. He drove straight.
Did a side flip. Literally did a barrel roll. Like
low.
Low? Okay.
Low. No fun today. Serious business only, all right? This is grand final day. They can't mess around with that. They needs to do at least 2 barrel rolls to get a passing grade.
Okay, I thought there was 2 barrel rolls, but I can't count, so, I'd believe it. Here comes another big, fierce counterattack. It's going to be counter-hit again by Spotto. 2 players there on the attack can take the 2v1 well. Just wins the solo. Had the player in the pocket, but that evens up the score once again.
Yeah, that was just a 2v1 situation. Spotto took the flick. Mozzie, unfortunately, unable to play shadow defense correctly right there. Tie ball game yet again, and I do appreciate how XVA, when they see an opening, they will go straight for it right now. Garrett's over-aggressiveness sometimes will punish them. I still like Curtin's playstyle a little bit more at this stage of the game. However, credit where credit is due. I do appreciate XVA fighting these openings and capitalizing.
Yeah, it's a big part of the game, and right at the moment, Moisty might have an opportunity for another one. Just flicks it in the side. Pretty comfortable goal there coming in from the corner. It does mean there's a fair bit to... Okay, this sounds like I'm flaming, and I mean, okay, maybe that is part of it, but like, genuinely, it means that there are a lot of adaptations to make in these games. We often make the point that, this first game is about feeling each other out, but, like, there is a lot of value to sort of take some time between this game and the second one for both sides, because I still don't know how this one's going to go. We still have plenty of time for either team to sort of pull themselves into a lead. But yeah, it's going to take that time and make the adaptations. As it is right now, Moisty gets the flick off the spoiler and actually might almost find the speed on that goal. Caden just gets the touch.
Caden is also the player who I think we should be keeping our eyes on as this series progresses and warming up. I mean, they're coming off of a lot of success over the past couple weeks, playing with, I believe it's Collateral Esports. They actually got top 16 in the last RLCS regional, and Caden would have been a big part of that. So we do have some semi-pro players, lurking in the midst of this event right now. However, they're not really able to handle some of these counterattacking opportunities created by the side of XVA. Unless we see something crazy happen right here, it could be the end of game number 1. Mozzie with possession, unable to get the flick past Spotto, and that should do it for our first game.
Yeah, that's it. And it is XVA going 1-0 up in that game, exactly as you predicted. Well done. We predicted them to be favorites, I guess, but them taking that lead, kind of proving that point. But it was very back and forth. It was coming off counterattacks, it was coming off missteps into the rotations and things like that. So, again, I've made the point before, and I'm kind of just going to reiterate it. It does feel like there's plenty of adaptations for both sides to make. They're very visible, very specific things which you can kind of just point to and say, that's something which we need to do better, which I think as a team doesn't feel too bad. If you get absolutely smacked by someone and you have no idea what you did wrong, that's when it's really rough.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, though, because when you saw a look at the stats at the end, my initial prediction was kind of correct. It was Caden doing a majority of the lifting for the side of Curtin right now, and that could be something which will hurt the team long-term, because while Caden might be the best player on the pitch, although Spotto's having a pretty strong performance as well, you still need to kind of approach this as like that full team effort right now, and I'm still waiting to see how Drip and Mozzie can get themselves more involved.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, at the moment, there's a great opportunity that pass
just
up.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. That player. How long? Do you know how long? Okay, right from pretty much there, you see Drip just holding that position, getting ready for the angle, and just toe touches in.
It was also Drip who set up the pass to Mozzie initially. It was a 1-2-1 pass setup shot. So, just as we're asking, how can they ease the Caden load a bit? How can the 2 other teammates step up? They show us how, just like that, with a 1-0 lead Collateral. maybe they can rely a bit more on their defense to play a bit more patiently, or will we see them continue to try to attack as well at the moment? Well, they're playing forced to play defense. That was a good touch by Yonk, and already Spotto is there.
Yeah, that seems like the kind of speed of the game feels a little bit faster to me, at least. Still keeping his 50s. I noticed there's a fair few contacts right at the moment. It's going to be Drip trying to get that one. Doesn't get the touch as it goes into the wall. Spotto has an opportunity here. It is going to be a fair few defenders that have to break through it. Maybe setting up some sort of other attack. Jonk is the third player, so we'll have to make sure that they don't get dispossessed and that quick counterattack doesn't come through. But it's okay because they have bought plenty of time while Drip tries to carry this one over the top. Flicks it nicely, gets intercepted, and right at the moment it's XVA just doing some pretty good midfield control, at least in this play.
What I find interesting is when XV looks to attack, they'll send 3 players forward, but still rely on an individual play unless that individual is squaring up against Caden, in which case that's when they actually look to pass it out. And I find that kind of fascinating right now. So they definitely are recognizing what sort of matchups they want to attack. Caden, though, had a chance to get Spotto right there. Spotto doing enough on defense. Now we'll watch Yonk try to take it back the other way. And this is what I mean. Expect Yonk to try to go for the solo play. Gets past one, bumps off the second. But as soon as Caden arrives, all right, time to back up, time to retreat.
Oh, this is a pretty dangerous ball, but Caden didn't get that secondary touch on it. And yeah, I mean, Caden didn't have the best angle on that one. There were still situations for a numbers advantage, but they do find that shot on the target. Defender gets a touch to it, but it's a little bit too high. Displaying that skill and kind of trying to make that point they want to be the star player here.
When do you become considered a professional player? Like, when does that line be crossed? I ask because I'm very curious where Caden would actually rely on this one right now. Because, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Caden is not a player I'm familiar with, especially, you know, with usual RLCS lineups. I do follow those. It was their first ever RLCS top 16, I believe, happening just last weekend. So I'm curious, does that mean, do we consider them full-blown pro right now, or do they need to do it a couple more times? When is that line actually crossed?
But that's where, like, yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, usually people just, oh, that's an opportunity, and that was a bit of a mistouch on the defenses. Jonk just runs it in. I mean, there was a couple of players who whiffed on this, so it wasn't just an individual, you know, slap that one hand. Sort of the better touches going in favor of XV as they pull this one goal closer. But to answer your question about pro players, I mean, the classic is always when you earn a paycheck, right? That's like the classic answer, but it is a bit of a cop-out. So I don't know. I reckon that top 16 RLCS, that's definitely not a small event by any stretch. I think I'd be pretty close to calling myself a pro player if I managed to get
I don't think he's earned any prize money yet, though, so that could be a strike against. It's difficult. I'm happy with the term semi-pro right now, especially considering, I mean, Collateral being their first team outside of Curtin, who we're seeing play right here, right now. Should be worth noting that this Curtin lineup, I do believe they finished, they did make the top 12 during Season 7, their most recent AEL University season, but they didn't really get much further than that. They're a bubble team, and definitely a bubble player in every sense of the word. You would think this would be the exact type of tournament where they could step up and maybe make that deeper run. Right now, they are poised to take game number 2 and advance this series to a 1-1 tie. However, XVA definitely doing a good job in challenging them.
They are, and to be fair, if they win, you know, if they do win some of the smaller tournaments, that is still a paycheck, so we'll still count it. Right at the moment, though, they are, you know, they are in disadvantage in terms of game score. Oh, by the way, for a bubble team, Chatime is the sponsor. I know it's not quite the same word, but it's one letter off. It's close enough. But yeah, Curtin, they have to hold on to this game at least. 1 minute 40 seconds left. Only a 1-goal advantage for them. They can try and find something else here. A couple of defenders did bite in that defense, but it wasn't much punished. Spotto just runs it off that clear from Moisty.
Yeah, that was just... It was a weird pass right there. There wasn't much Caden can do with it if they wanted to slow the pace down, so realistically would have liked to see him try to drive and sort of expect Spotto to make that challenge, because that's how we've been seeing XVA get their goals. They go for these challenges when they see openings. They hadn't really challenged Caden yet. That was a ballsy play, and it does pay dividends. So with a 2-2 scoreline, a minute 22 to go, if XVA take this game somehow, some way, they're advancing to match point.
They are, and they've got a few opportunities here on the shot. Not quite getting the actual shots on, but getting the setups. They were a little bit too fast for themselves almost, as actually Moisty just keeps possession of that one. Spotto is set up for, but didn't get the angle. It comes off that backboard. Caden might have an opportunity to pass this one. Has Mozzie in the back pocket as well. Goes high with it. Puts it in the center of the field. Drip is waiting, but didn't quite get that first touch. Tries to flick it above the defenders. Caden doesn't get that redirection, but again, it's Mozzie. They keep firing attack after attack after attack, and they keep going just a little bit high. Caden wants to put this ball up high, make it dangerous for the defenders at least, make sure that they can capitalize off any mistouch, but it doesn't quite work out for them. Remember, the scores are tied right at the moment. close
That was
counterattack.
dangerous. That was so dangerous right there. Very fortunate for the side of Curtin that XVA wasn't able to turn that one into a shot, although Drip is going to have to try and buy some time for the rest of the team to collect that boost. Oh, Labo actually winds up going a bit through the defense. Nice bump onto Caden from Moist, though. Will stop this attack. 20 seconds to go. Drip eyeing the prize right there. Spotto, though, will bang it through. That's going straight, but Mozzie has the speed to corral it to the corner.
Yeah, and it's still such a dangerous time. 10 seconds left. If the ball is kept in the air after that 0-second mark, it will have a little bit extra bonus time to score the goal. Junk wants it. Junk does not want to take this to overtime at all. Drip does keep it alive, puts it in their attacking half as well. Mozzie doesn't quite get to it, so the ball is going to go dead, and we have ourselves our first overtime. And to be fair, a pretty exciting one, given how these teams have been building up in this series.
Yeah, I mean, we did kind of say these two teams look pretty evenly matched from the word go. Mozzie off the kickoff, doesn't get it. Drip puts it high as well. 2 saves off the top crossbar. Unfortunate for the side of Curtin. They can't end this one quickly.
Yeah, I didn't think Caden was quite ready for that one. Wasn't quite aware of just how much their teammate were going to get. However, this time they've got 2 players back. They both went for knocks. No passing opportunities. Moisty doesn't get much of a clear, but it goes to Jonk. So not too much one off that one, and the offensive pressure still staying firmly in the hands of Curtin right here. They have a chance to put it away, but it doesn't quite go off.
Yeah, that was dangerous. I mean, Curtin, they're getting a bit more dynamic with their attack. That was a great read by Moist. Unfortunately, not accurate for the side of XVA. They're still looking for windows into that back line, but so far in this overtime, I have to admit, Curtin has been a bit more of that aggressive team. They've been challenging. Now it's XVA's turn. 2 members in the box. Spotto underneath won't be able to get to the ball. Caden, however, can't get it safely into that corner. Drip will get the unchallenged clear. Finds Caden, and that's a beautiful pass and shot. 3-2 victory for the side of Curtin.
Fantastic job as well. Caden, look, already had sort of seen the opportunity, was almost like soft marking Junk on the attack though. Had the awareness of where that player was, knew exactly what they had to do to get past them, and a fantastic effort to even up the game scores. It was interesting because for most of that, it was Curtin holding down the attack, trying to cycle through those rotational attacks, and eventually, XVA getting the occasional opportunity to counter hit. And what sealed it was a Curtin counter hit. It was the Curtin counterattack, the clear out to Caden, the pass in, which was beautifully structured. But it's kind of the opposite of what you would have expected from the last few seconds of that overtime.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I also want to shout out 150 kilometers per hour on that last shot right there to put it through. Caden just got all of that one. But we saw elevation from the rest of the Curtin side. Drip and Mozzie definitely played a lot more consistently in that second game than they did in the first game. And as a result, Curtin looked a lot more complete. We saw more defensive stands. We saw a more dangerous attacking half as well. This is the sort of Curtin we may have been expecting coming into this series right now. Pressure back on XVA to sort of step up and find ways to get themselves those same breakaway advantages that they found in Game 1 in the first half of Game number 2.
That knock looked really dangerous, but the defenders hold still as they know the ball's going to go a little bit too high there. A demo straight away. It looks like Curtin are not messing around in this game. They are back on defense right at the moment, though, so they're going to have to be a bit careful with this one. Caden has enough time to touch that one, but Junk wants to set something else up. Didn't get the ideal touch, but they're still in control from really good save over the top from Spotto. Drip just gets a little bit high on that one. Caden again going for that same sort of setup play, but they didn't quite have the speed. It almost goes in. Drip just gets it off that crossbar. That villainous crossbar for XV.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a little look at this one again, and unfortunately for Jonk, they wanted it off the backboard, not the crossbar, and it just bounced right back in essentially, dead man's land this time around. It was a pretty easy bang coming from the side of Curtin, and with that, they have a lead for, it feels like this is the first time they've actually had a game lead, I believe, because they just won that last one in overtime after coming back. So we get to see what happens when this team is out in front. No, wait, that's not true. They did score first in game number 2. I stand corrected. Either way, this team is looking a lot more comfortable than they did initially in this series.
Yeah, smooth slide from Drip as well there. It looked very neat. But yeah, they do look a lot more comfortable. Jonk just beats out 2 players. But I almost went for the knock, not realizing the player had already got them. Moisty not quite committing for that third player. Might have had an opportunity if they pulled through. Drip now trying to use the speed on the rotation to try and catch them defenders out. Not going to do it. Not a huge amount of space there bought for the side of Curtin as they're going to try and set up yet another counterattack. Just going to go in the corner. Actually, a great touch from Cade that just doesn't go through.
Yeah, that pass was about as perfect as you could see, although that one, not quite the same. Goes a bit too high. That's all right. Mozzie's still going to look to try to make something happen off the backboard. Caden's there. Got the 50 the way they wanted, however, a bit too tight. Now, Mozzie, awkward touch, getting in the teammate's way. That's going to allow XVA a chance. Drip goes for a backward pass. Mozzie will collect. Caden tries to follow it up. Pre-jumps, neither of which connects, so that just leaves poor Drip alone on defense. Here comes Yonk, but they just bang it down instead of slowing the pace.
You identified how both teams are using space a lot, but it's interesting because they're trying to use space and deny it from their opponents. They're trying to be in each other's faces, take those 50s, take those contests, be on top of the opponent, and don't let them set up those passing plays, which kind of makes for a very interesting style between these two teams. They both want to go for passing plays and shut down their opponents. Off the backboard now, Moisty might have had it, just gets a little bit close. Again, XV, they're going to be shaking their fist at that crossbar.
Yeah, they wanted that one, I feel like, and unfortunately unable to collect this time around. Still 2.5 minutes remaining as Spotto looking to play through that quarter. Yonk has a peek, but doesn't quite like it. Caden's speed again on display as we see the clear back up towards the other direction. Caden was looking for bumps. Mozzie was looking for a pass. Instead, it's going up the other way. Shot from Moist a bit wide to the right.
Yeah, so many of the shots have been so close, given the fact this game score is 1-0 at the moment in favor of Curtin. A tiny little play like that, a tiny change of angles could be massive. There's the demo. Spotto should be able to get back for this one, but where's the secondary attack? Drip goes up, tries to set it forward. Mozzie gets the pass off. It could be the 1-2-3, but they're not going to commit to this one. Caden just wanted to rotate back and reset their attack. It does come forward, and Caden with a lovely little touch there. Turns out that was the perfect play, as the defense just couldn't quite rotate fast enough for this.
Yeah, well, Spotto and Moist were bumping into each other and then just kind of gave up on the play when they saw Caden barreling on down. Not sure what happened there. Complete breakdown on the defense. Very uncharacteristic from XVA, and I think that's the first time we saw something kind of that egregious so far in this series. Good thing it got punished, though. I would have been a bit disappointed had Curtin not been able to convert that into a goal.
Yeah, definitely. Because we did see a few close miscues, but that would have been probably the most frustrating of all of them. Again, Moisty so taking that 50 does get the better end of it as Jonk's trying to just dribble this one down, tries to flick it over the top, but Caden does get there faster, and it looks like Curtin thoroughly in control of this game right at the moment.
Yeah, Curtin looking very, very strong at this stage. Yonk, though, will be able to create some space. Ball almost waterfalls down, but will be collected by Drip instead. Caden keeping the pace slow. Drip, though, got a little confused, and that's a bang and a half out of Moisty. Back within one. XVA is not done yet.
Absolutely not. That's the kind of thing a game like this can flip. And actually, that gentle touch from Spotto just to change the angle the ball was going to come from, I don't know if it won them that goal. But it definitely is tricky. It's like the sort of thing you see in traditional sports, which again we kind of talk about a fair bit. But if all you need is one player to get their stick or their foot or whatever it is in the way of the ball is heading towards the goal, and the goalkeepers are it makes it that much harder for them to kind of read the play. Here it is at the moment. XV tried to go back on the attack, but it was the counter attack again from Caden and Drip, which was just too strong.
I love this pass through traffic right here. Yonk doing everything they can. Moisty desperate to try and make a save, but it was too fast, too accurate, too in control from the side of Curtin, and now they're up by 2 goals, under a minute to go. More likely than not, they're advancing to match point.
That's seeming the way of it. I mean, again, Rocket League's fast growing game. That bump was huge. Jonk just flicks it forward. Every faith in their teammates going to come through as Moisty just identifies what has to happen, understands that they didn't get the perfect touch on it, and just takes out Drip. Exactly what you want to see from an attack.
Yeah, that was Moisty as well, who kind of comes up big on the kickoff at that same token, and now in position to maybe make that comeback. I mean, under a minute to go. If they find a goal, if Spotto makes it happen here. Not quite able to keep that dribble exactly where they want it. Mozzie will play through the quarter. Jonk tries to run mid-pitch disruption, but can't throw Caden off the play. 37 seconds to go. Drip eyeing up a pass. Jonk comes out on top. And as we hit our final half minute, things are looking dire for XVA. They're still stuck on their own defensive half.
Yeah, I mean, this is, they still have a game to play after this, even if they lose it. But Spotto might have a breakaway. There's 2 players there. Can they pull the 1v2? It's not going to happen. Jonk gets that secondary attack. It just goes a little bit high, but Drip just puts it into the corner. I think everyone in this game knows just how real the comeback opportunity is here. Both teams trying to play so carefully to try and, in the side of XVA, engineer it. The ball's in the attacking half. 3 players up. Drip gets a touch. It's awkward. It doesn't go to a teammate. That's happened. Moisty gets it. Drip off a tiny awkward touch, but it's Moisty which makes it happen.
You could see Moisty eyeing this one up, and Caden just awkwardly flips off of the curve in the wall. Everyone, apparently at all levels, makes that mistake at times. And the moment I saw that flip going awry, Moisty had it now. 1 second left till overtime. We're just going to let it drop. Second game in a row, Fetch, and we have to go into extra minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. Seeing these teams pick themselves up from each game, like each small improvement is what's so beautiful about this game. It's not like other games where you kind of get outclassed in one game and you either just come back or you don't. There really is time for adaptation over counter adaptation. Mozzie doesn't quite put that on the right spot, and it means that Spotto just cleans it up a much faster overtime than our last one, and this one, it goes to the side of XVA.
What a comeback from XVA as well. I mean, they scored 2 goals in what was essentially about 20 seconds to come back and win this game outright. They now are the team that is up 2-1 in the series. And if you go back to how that third game was played, it was dominated by Curtin for a majority of it. I mean, if you take a look at the shots, it wasn't until that final minute that we saw XVA come roaring back, and that's going to be a bit of a blow for the younger Curtin side. I feel like if they're going to keep their mentality in this game, they cannot let that comeback affect them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you never, mental is very important in a game which requires you to have that very quick thought and very quick reactions and things like that. But it is one game. They are admittedly up against a match point. But, yeah, you're right. It does do kind of a lot of damage to the mental. Moisty has a breakaway here from a small turnaround misplay. And again, that's back to XVA playing how they did before, just counter-hitting at every opportunity.
I feel like this is now, if my math is correct, 4 unanswered goals going in favor of XVA at this stage. They are starting to look more and more dominant, and we're seeing more and more sloppy midfield play, I feel, from the Curtin side. They're not as clean as they were before. They're definitely struggling a bit. This could be dangerous moving forward right now unless Curtin can find some way to clean their play up, just calm things down, and maybe slow up the pace. They could come back to it, but as you can see, every little mistouch, every time they get a bit too over-aggressive with that first play, they are punished, although that pass to Drip was clean.
That was absolutely fantastic. Mozzie tries to be the one to kind of clean that attack up and just finish it off. Doesn't work out for them, but again, it shows they're still trying. It shows they're still thinking about ways to find these attacks. Caden goes for another pinch. It goes straight to Moisty, though. Not quite the touch they might have liked, but enough time for the defenders to get to it. Well, it ends up being Jonk who gets to it first. And actually, a demo onto Jonk as well, so they should slow down the attack a little bit. Don't have as much opportunity for attacks. We know there's going to be a player back there, but the pass could be good for Mozzie. There's a third player. They will be going for it. It's Caden, of course, but they can't find an attack individually, so they're going to try and slow down the counter hit, but Drip might get this one. Opportunity was there, but the angle wasn't.
As we see Drip kind of hold things down in the corner. Mozzie goes for the challenge, loses out. Now we got Caden passing it back towards the middle. Drip eyeing it up. Spotto gets there first. This attack, it's a patient one. They're crossing up the defense again and again, and that's the miss they were looking for. Drip tries to punish, but is unable to put it through in time. Caden with another attempt will cross up the defense once more, gets a demo, but Spotto, by beating out Drip, saves that attack, and now with the slow pace, no boost, nearly goes the other way. XVA, they're doing everything right at this stage of the game to keep themselves in that 1-point advantage.
Yeah, they are. And this, what is currently a 2v2, they're going to try and play it off the backboard. Caden sets up really nicely, but Drip just doesn't get that touch. It's going to be close, though. Moisty is trying to run this down the field. Didn't see the player behind them, and Caden's going to get that bounce back. I don't actually know between these two. Drip, Caden are the scoring duo, but they're going to get scored on by Moisty once again. The change around in the pace of that game, the second it became a twos match, thanks to that, what was actually a vertical rule one, I believe, with one player being right up, yeah, weird situation. But the change of the pace of that game, XV just seemed to pick it up really quickly.
Yeah, I just don't think Drip saw Moisty there. Moisty kind of in that blind spot, able to get the most delicate of touches right over the top, and Drip had just collected the boost, was prepared for the play. Very, very awkward, and now 2 goals down in a do-or-die situation. XVA, this is the most in control we've seen from them so far in this series, and it's coming at the opportune moment. Caden getting demoed on the opposite side of the pitch, meaning that there is nowhere for this ball to go. No one even wants to touch it. Spotto just went corner to corner to get to it first. It really feels like Curtin is falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, this is the game to... this is a lower bracket match. This is their match to stay in the finals, to get a chance to be the ones to make that big gauntlet run. But at the moment, they're going to have to pick up a lot in this game. They've got 2 goals to make up. They've only got a couple minutes to do it. And I mean, Caden tries to set up a passing play, but again, it just doesn't find the target. Sure, Mozzie gets a good counter touch afterwards, but there's just no one there to pick it back up.
Yeah, Mozzie was the one who kind of had to stay with it, and by the time Drip does show up, all three of the defenders are there. That pop, that aggressiveness is lacking, and I feel like a lot of it comes from Caden, who's been playing a lot more defensively in this game, but we've seen the result being a loss of that offensive impact, and I know I go back to the start of game number 2 where we did see Mozzie and Drip connect, but we haven't seen that connection again since that opening goal of the second game, which was the one game, might I add. Curtin was able to find that victory. Maybe now they can make something happen. Drip's able to get to the corner. Caden's having a look, but Yonk over the top gets past not one but two defenders. And again, that means more work for Curtin to get that attacking pressure back.
Yeah, plenty of time, or plenty of opportunities, I guess, even if there's not much time. They kind of have to make every play work right here. Caden goes for a pinch off the wall again, doesn't quite work through. Drip does have the ball, though. We know they can play it through defenders, but Spotto just gets a really great dispossession, can take their time getting this clear, can pass off to Junk if they want. If the ball's going slowly, it kind of favors them. They like it when it's not in the air, at least in the moment. The more time they buy Caden, trying to make some speed happen, trying to make some sort of momentum built. And even though they're getting crosses, there's just not much more happening from Curtin.
This defense coming out of XVA, they're too scared to move out of the box. They're too scared to move out of the backboard. Yet, consistently, XVA is just delivering the ball to them. They need to create space by playing a little bit further back, but they're not doing it right now. They want to keep it tight, and I feel like that is a little bit of the stress of the situation coming through. I like that attempt from Mozzie. That one was set up outside the box, not in it. But again, the ball rolls right back into the box. All three members of Curtin start to squeeze in nice and tight. Curtin's just playing right into XVA's defense. We nearly see the counterattack punish again. This is looking like it's going to be XVA's game.
Yeah, I think it might well be. I mean, there's just so few opportunities, and with Curtin not being able to find their momentum, pick it up, doesn't seem like it. I mean, Mozzie at least trying to find some sort of a high note to go out on, but isn't even finding that. They've got the attack locked in, but I mean, fundamentally, XV, they don't care if they clear it out.
Nope, they got it. They're done. This game is over, Fetch. It's going to be XVA advancing to the losers final.
Yeah, and a huge credit to them. They really did look, at points it looked like they were just going to get steamrolled over, but they kept their cool, they kept calm, and they managed to keep themselves in this series and in this final. So we go back to our challenge, which because the game just ended that second, it hasn't been updated. Our admins are good, but not that good.
It'll be updated shortly.
It'll be updated. I reckon by the time we come back, it'll be updated. Maybe. We'll see how we go. I don't want to put anything on our admins. They work very hard. Yeah. But you can see at least the path which XV have to take now. They have to come up against Sylvia. Now, they were on the other side of the bracket to Sylvia, so we haven't seen them play at least in the playoffs. I don't remember how the groups are shaped out, but I don't think that these two teams have played yet, which means that it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
There, it's already updated! Oh, they're so good. Yeah Right are the team who's knocked out both Sylvia and XV.
Yeah, Right looks very good too. I mean, they still probably are the favorites for the entirety of this event.
I reckon. Anyway, that's going to be a very exciting game because we genuinely don't know who's stronger in terms of that back and forth for or against. So whoever's going to challenge the Titans, who at the moment are Right, that one's going to be decided in our next game. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more incredibly interesting, fun, funky Rocket League action right after this break. and welcome back to the Riverina Cup. It's 2021 City of Wagga Wagga event. I don't know why I had to say that. I looked up the corner to make sure I wasn't mispronouncing it, and it was 2021, so I was like, that's the year. My name is Fetch. This is Form. Of course, we are going through we are getting close to our grand final. This is our lower bracket final, which, if you call it lower bracket grand final, I think people just get confused. But it is going to be between XVA and Sylvia, two teams who, as we kind of mentioned before we went to break, we don't actually know what the relative strength of these teams looks like. I think that they're both incredibly good. We saw XV kind of adapt, warm up, and get really into that last series and end up taking it 3-1. Sylvia, of course, made it to our upper bracket final, but both of them got knocked out by the same team. Both of them were not completely destroyed in doing so. So it's going to be a question of who is able to beat out our current, kind of upper bracket champions in that grand final, or at least try and take them on. Try and give them a shot.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. I think the one strength that we saw from XVA during that last matchup was their ability to sort of read their opponents, and they're very big and very precise, I want to say, on their counterattacking abilities. Sylvia, though, I remember them looking all right, but they definitely fell short against Right, who just felt like they had the pace the entire time 1 week ago. So what I'm expecting in this game actually could be a slower paced match than what we saw before, and that could pay dividends for Sylvia. I expect this win to play out very similar to what we saw at the end of our last series, perhaps, with the XVA coming out on top. Sylvia, if they can play a bit further back, they might find more successes. I think the further you keep the ball away from XVA, especially when you're attacking, the better of a chance you have.
Yeah, I mean, I like that as a synopsis. It was kind of some of the ways in which their opponents in that last game, Curtin, Uni. I don't know how I forgot that. Yeah, their opponents in that last game, Curtin, Uni, were able to find some of those holes in the defense, but I believe we're pretty good. Well, we're pretty much ready to get into game. In fact, the players are already doing so. I'll flick us over to our in-game screen. There we go. Of course, it's going to be XVA in the blue, Sylvia in the orange, Dan, Jads, and Manon for Sylvia against Jonk, Moisty, and Spotto for XV.
Yeah, and we'll see how this one plays out. I'm so curious what this Sylvia attack is going to look like. Already looking dangerous. Dan almost able to get one through, but off of that miss, you can see all three members of XVA have rotated back, but now we're seeing bumps come into play. Jad's open net, just had to tap that one straight, and already Sylvia's got a 1-0 lead.
Okay, so the good to know the chaos is still in the game. We're not losing that from our last series. Jad's going to capitalize on that one. Has a little joker laugh as well, which is quite fitting. But yeah, going up 1-0 early in the series, it's it's very early days in this one. XV, of course, did play a series. I don't think that there's no way I think they're looking tired just yet. I think if anything, they're kind of getting warmed and getting into the game as Spotto just gets demoed by Jads and Manon tries to capitalize on it, but just gets repelled by the attack.
Okay, so I feel as if Sylvia was watching that last series, and they know exactly how to counter this, backboard defense, this play in the box style approach, and that is bump, demo, bump, demo, bump, demo. Jads has been just sending it again and again into that XVA back line, and we're seeing it create those opportunities already. This is really good stuff right now. I mean, Jads is so keen, he's already bumping his own team off of the ball as well. He just wants to get as physical as possible. I should say they want to get as physical as possible, and that is a fantastic look for this team. I love coming in with this type of game plan. I think this is the exact right approach that they need, and it's kind of why they're up 1-0.
Yeah, and that's it's a good start, of course. Small days just yet, and of course, remember that on the flip side, Moisty was doing a huge amount in that last series as well, so look for them to pop off. Of course, all three plays quite good. Jads looking for just a raw opportunity there as Spotter's going to be the one to power that one out, try and find some sort of clearance. Doesn't quite go through, and Moisty caught a little bit awkwardly, but actually finds a touch onto that. Dan controlling the midfield quite well, and Moisty forced to make another clearance out as Jonk tries to get a bit of a breakaway, but doesn't quite get it past Jads fast enough.
As we do see some ball in the corner, not really attacked just yet again. We're seeing some of the similar tendencies from XVA that we saw in the last series, where they'll like to eye up the play, wait till they think they have the opportunity, and then strike. And, well, it pays off this time. It was a bit of a 1-2-3 punch, but all of it done with a bit of hesitation and a lot of precision. Moisty gets credit for the goal.
I was a little bit worried there because Sylvia a couple of times looked a little bit slow in the play themselves. They'd kind of try and bait their opponents into overextending into them, trying to rush the play, take a 50 too early or something like that. And I was a little bit worried they might get punished for it. It wasn't quite what happened in the end there, but it's something they will have to be careful of, I think, coming through. Scores are even in this first game. Again, of course, you know, this first game often about trying to get a sense of your opponent. Sylvia did have that leg up, and I think really well identified. They might have watched that tape so far. Moisty does get a shot in the middle of the field, possibly going to be put away, but wasn't quite. Jads just clings the ball up high for Junk to try and set up another attack.
Yeah, Yonk already putting pressure on that backboard right now. Eventually it will get dished down to Moisty, who will snipe it from midfield. Haven't seen too many midfield strikes actually coming from XVA yet. This one, though, 115 kilometers per hour and an XVA lead.
I think when we have, it's come from Moisty. I think Moisty is the one who seems to be able to get that read on the play, just that step ahead. You know, while Spotto has, I think both Spotto and, of course, their teammate, I'm going to double check because my brain's going blank, Junk, are very good at setting up coordinated plays. They have mechanics, things like that, passing setups, but I feel like Moisty just has this read on their opponents and is really able to sort of figure out where to be and where to put those shots in. It was really crucial in that last series. Of course, getting 2 goals for themselves so far looks pretty good, as Spotto does get demoed. Moisty is going to try and still make this attacking play work, though.
Jonk is going to be able to pump Jads away, and now Manon will be the one who steps forward. Jads versus Spotto actually goes in Spotto's favor, but Jads with that pass back look to keep it away from Moisty. Instead, may have set them up. Dan able to make a defensive touch, but no one wanted to follow up just yet. It's patient defense right now coming from this orange side. Eventually, Jads will get the clear for Sylvia. Follow it up as well. Double commit on defense. Open net, but Manon not there to punish.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, they haven't sort of found those bigs like spikes in just at the moment. Manon is going to be forced back on the defense as well. He's going to have to take this 1v1 against Junk, but the ball goes wide. The shot, I thought there might be a teammate there, some sort of passing setup, because that was something which was utilized a lot in that last series. Jad's now going to go for the individual play. So almost sort of gets a very slow pinch over the top of that one defender, but can't quite get it fast enough to push it past 2. Dan wants to go for that big attempt. Great smother by Jads. There might be an opportunity, but they couldn't quite build the speed. A demo from XV, but Dan still finds the goal.
Yeah, Dan was eyeing this one up for a while, calling for this pass, and I'm a little surprised Jads went for it because there were 2 defenders in the box looking to go for that interception, but the moment the ball got past them both, Dan knew all I have to do is tap that one straight. It was a very tight pass, but one that was cleanly executed nonetheless, and now we have a tie ball game with just 1:05 to spare.
We might see another overtime. I don't know how many overtimes we can have in one broadcast. I think like there's probably a limit to that. You know, we have allocated a certain number. But let's get definitely
how many games?
Might be pushed today. Well, I mean, technically we could have 20 games. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 overtimes. That's the limit. No, I'm not allowing any more than 20 overtimes today.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. If we have to remake a game in mid-overtime, I'm going to be very mad.
Oh, nope, not allowed.
No,
not
okay,
allowed.
okay,
Only
good,
allowed
good.
20.
And Moisty almost finds another individual play. The defender's just able to hold on, play that one off the sidebar. As Jung tries to put it forward again, tries to keep this attacking pressure on right at the moment. Sylvia not found the most big clears yet. At least not found many of those big clears just at the moment. Dan tries to put it over the top. It might be on target if they get this redirect. Doesn't work. And Manon, once again, not quite able to make that connection happen. It looks like both teams try to get a little bit physical as they try and, right at the moment, XV try and clear this ball out.
Yeah, and that's the physicality that we've actually lost from the Sylvia side. At the start of the game, they were going for it, but after a couple quick goals were scored by the XVA team, they've started to play a bit more defensively, a bit further back. I'm not sure I'm a fan of this adjustment. Either way, final second of regulation, ball will hit the ground, and we have ourselves a Game 1 overtime.
OT part 3, and this time XVA, they won the last one. They have overtime momentum. Almost got that one off the kickoff, but Manon and Jads with a very stressful clear out to the side. It comes off the top. Again, no player there to kind of punish that one in. Jonk and Jads trying to play positional on each other. Jads tried to cheat forward to get some sort of a passing setup. That's the secondary touch, but it wasn't quite enough.
That was a really nice pass right there, but Spotto had that one read. Now Moisty actually slows it down, opens a doorway, and Spotto bangs it through. Great setup off the fake touch from Moisty, and that is what's going to give XVA the Game 1 win.
And it looks pretty good as well from them. Again, that was the kind of the play we were talking about a little bit before. It's that ability for those two in particular to be able to find some pretty comfortable 1-2s. Well, I mean, often it's Jonk setting up that 1-2, but it's such a good effort from the whole team in terms of setting up the pass plays. Moisty able to just make capitalizations and punishes off opposing misplays. That seems to be how the team's structured to my mind. And Sylvia, it looked like, you're right, it really looked like they had the answer. It really looked like they knew how to kind of put the shackles on XV, at least a little bit, you know? On topic of XV, they might be missing a player right at the moment.
Oh, yeah, they've gone ahead and jumped out. So if the players jump out and don't touch the ball, now they've already started. So we're going to have a lobby remake. I believe, I'm not sure, did they call for this? Like, they've just all left. So yeah, I guess we're going to remake the lobby.
Alright, I mean, we'll probably wait to hear what admins have to say on that one as well, but I'm sure that is probably going to be the end result. How about for now, I bring it back to us, our wonderful faces.
Yeah,
Hello
well,
there.
you're not going to see the side of my face because I'm remaking the lobby.
That's true. We are doing a lot of that technical thing. So it's gonna be give us a little second before we get back into that one, of course, here from admins and things like that. This is the thing about Rocket League.
Someone has to leave first. Someone's hanging around. Someone
is hanging around. That someone's doing production. It's all right. I've left now. It's all good. Clicking buttons is very hard.
It's difficult.
I
wasn't going to name names. You brought it up yourself. That's on you.
I was in the middle of leaving, so I was happy to own up to my mistakes there. But okay, so I just got thrown straight back into the same game. That's cool.
Well, try again.
Yeah, I'm trying again. All right, so we are back to the main menus now. Everything's cool. Everything's calm. And this is the thing about Rocket League. Like, even though those patches did come through to make this a little bit easier to manage, I actually reckon a lot bit easier to manage. It's not perfect still, you know? I think that's fair to say. You can't just hit, all right, redo, rematch, and of course...
Are you able to... Is it taking you into the same...
It was taking me to the same lobby, but if you're in a game,
other people
I will...
Wait, what? Other people?
Give me a second. All right, I'm gonna click this. Enjoying the behind the scenes, everyone. This is just classic Rocket League. Back in the day, it used to be a lot more like this. You know, you'd have this issue every third game or something. Nowadays, it's not so bad. And there are 5 players in this game, and I'm one of them. Let's go! All right, this sounds good. This feels a lot better. So, we have to see what is happening. It might have also been a technical issue from one of the players or something like that. But I'm sure we'll get it resolved very soon. Get the players back into a lobby. It seems like
everyone's back in.
Yeah,
all right.
Seems like everyone's back in, so we'll just hit go whenever they are ready. Well, it's kind of up to them. You know, again, we don't have any big red buttons.
I'm saying go. It's up to me. I am the game dictator. I dictate when we start, and I say we start now. So bring that camera back to the pitch, Fetch. We're underway for game number 2.
Yeah, here it is. Young wants to get a big start off into that one. Dan's going to carry this one across. Has the 1v1 against Spotto. Spotto is able to get the hide on that. Not much more trickery Dan could bring into that game. Spotto now trying to play it across the wing as well. Pulling it off the backboard. Didn't get too much more done thanks to the defense from Jads. But 2 defenders now caught out of position, and Spotto didn't have the speed to punish it. But Moisty might have, just not quite enough.
Yeah, as we see now opportunity from Jads to go a bit airborne with it. Yonk trying to play that backboard defense. Man, and already there. This is that higher tempo we saw before, but I watched Jads not follow through. Didn't look for the bump, didn't look for the demo, didn't even steal the boost away. And they're letting, once again, XVA get away with these sort of 3 members in the box defense, looking for that patient counterattacking opportunity without the physicality that they used to give themselves the initial advantages before. Until we see that bump game come back into play, I'm just going to be a bit worried for the Sylvia side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with everything in there. If they're not getting physical, if they're not sort of playing a bit of that disruption, I mean, you mentioned keeping the ball off them. Destroying their cars is a pretty good way of doing that. Double commitment on the defense. I mean, no one there to punish it either. Once again, Sylvia not playing too aggressive, trying to bide their time, trying to wait. They know if they overcommit here, they're just going to get counterattacked. And Spotto faked really aggressively on that, and Drunk picks it up. This could be a good flurry of attack, but they have to sort of find a way of taking the ball off their opponents right at the moment. Jad's trying to make the solo play happen. Spotto, again, dispossession, pass up to themselves off the backboard, but I don't know if anyone's going to be able to pick this up. It's Moisty, but not happening. That angle was a bit too weird.
Yeah, let's see what Jads is going to be able to bring this time around. Looking for that sidewall pass down to Dan. Touch was good, but not good enough for the goal. Manin's going to keep the pressure on off that top backboard. Yonk from underneath actually makes one read, looking to make a second underneath. Dan gets there first. Getting pretty spooky right now as we do see Sylvia getting closer and closer to that goal. Someone needs to remind them Halloween perhaps has already passed, and you're better off skipping that jump scare and finding the goal quickly.
That's true. We don't need any scares in this game. Dan does get a gentle touch into that one. Passed off into the corner, but it's going to be picked up once again by the attack. 2 players go for that one, so there's going to be not many passing opportunities. Dan is the one who gets demoed out of that play, so Jad's not a lot of kind of resources to set up this attack with. As Spotto comes for a quick counterattack, but again, just ends up going to defense. We're seeing a kind of almost a slower start than we did in the last game in terms of the actual, like, attacking and defending kind of gets consistency.
Yeah, it's a bit different. That is for sure. I think I get what you're going for with that one. I don't know. At the moment, we have been seeing a lot more attack actually coming from the XVA side. They look a lot less comfortable when on the attack. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're kind of questioning when to push, when to pull back. They're so much more comfortable playing midfield and backfield as Dan is going to force them to play on that backside. Manon had the open net, but couldn't quite make contact with the ball.
Yeah, and that could have been such an important goal in what is so far a low-scoring game like this. Jads has it off the wall, has space, has an opportunity. Manon can be passed to as well. Could look for the demo onto the players, doesn't work out. Dan tries to flick it forward and actually attempt at the aerial knock, but it doesn't quite work through. Still, ball in control of Sylvia right at the moment. It comes with the crossbar again, but Manon's demoed. They have the players down. They just opt for that rotation back.
That they do, as we see Spotto and Manon kind of go 50-50. Ball's going to bounce to that opposite side as Dan steps forward. Moisty doesn't have that read. Spotto now looking to chase it up the side of the wall, looking to fall down. Moisty and Manon bump into each other. Now Manon actually has it taken away, but again, we're just going to see a peltering attack coming from the side of Sylvia, but without the physicality, without the bumps, without the demos. Yonk, though, gets caught in the crossbar, and that's going to cost them a point. Jad's the one who capitalizes.
Yeah, and we have the score opening for Sylvia. We were a little bit worried about their styles and things like that, but it was just overwhelming, the defense. You know, a couple of players not quite in the right position on the defense, and perfect capitalization there for the side of Sylvia. 1 minute, 12 seconds left to go. You got to think the pace of this game is going to shift a little bit at XV. Look for a more aggressive attempts because they just
no!
Oh, that's a big
no!
whiff. That's a huge whiff, but Manon's got it. It's fine.
Yeah, calculated, right? Purely planned. They knew that wasn't going to go in. That's why they went for the fake.
Yep. I like it. I agree, 100%. Ball's going down the other side of the field. Didn't quite have the pace to be a full counterattack, but Moisty does have an attempt on it. Gets a couple of self-pinch passes. Dan puts it up high. It might be Manon's attempt once again if they can get to it, but the ball just pulled out wide again. And, you know, Sylvia, they did find a demo there, but it wasn't quite on tempo.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what they were looking for just yet. Dan did have another look, but wasn't able to follow it through. Now we get to see what Manon's able to do. Look, here's the one downside, I think, with sort of how this game has been playing out. If XVA does find themselves behind, it's a lot tougher for them to score goals than it is to prevent goals. So as soon as they lose that lead, they're forced into situations where they're not as comfortable. I can see this one almost going back in again. 10 seconds remaining. Ball still on that blue side of the pitch. Jads will lose position. Yonk was there waiting, but didn't have that corner boost, so unable to get power from it. That was a nice little touch. It doesn't go in, but it doesn't matter. Sylvia still ties the series up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, and a very low-scoring game in that. We've kind of just expected these back and forths and things like that, especially given how much counterattacking has been going on in these games so far. But it does mean that Sylvia, you know, evening up the game score, you know, kind of putting themselves back in this series, not getting, not putting themselves at too much of a disadvantage just yet, gives them plenty of time to find what they want to utilize as their strengths to kind of leverage the rest of this series out.
Yeah, so let's see what they're going to be able to bring here if they can keep that momentum going for them. Remember, I mean, that was XVA's, they won 4 games in a row, and that's only their second loss of the evening thus far. So overall, they're still a team that's 4-2, still a team that has largely been winning, and their 2 losses have each only been by 1 point. So it's not as if XVA, I think, has lost their touch. That last game just sort of emphasized how important it is for them to keep the game either in their advantage or at the very minimum tied. That's where they look their best. They've given up a couple first goals, but they've been able to bounce back quickly each time. Maybe this one they'll be able to get through as Yonk gets the dunk and gets the 1-0 lead.
And interestingly, you talked about the fact they don't look too comfortable when they're attacking. It is really about where in the field the ball is playing. They had space in that midfield, and that's sort of where that attack came from. The only time, you know, the only touch on the ball, which was even ahead of the halfway mark, was the one which put the ball into goal. Every other pass set up in that play was from the halfway mark. So that kind of speaks to what you were saying. But again, Sylvia, you know, probably could come up and contested that a little bit more aggressively.
I think they definitely could have, as now they're going to be on that back foot once more. Spotto's going to put one up along that side wall. Ball bouncing slowly towards the net. Manon has a bit of a read, gets a light touch, but can only go so far with it. Jads will be the one instead leading the offensive play as the ball does get jammed up in the corner. Manon has a look, but isn't able to get there in time. Moisty clears it to safety.
Yeah, and Spotto actually has an opportunity possibly here. Dan does get a little bit physical on the play, gets the bump, but the ball might just string straight in from Moisty again. Like I said, Moisty the most opportunistic player possibly at this event. Maybe that's a big claim, but would be up there. Would be up there.
I think there's been more opportunities for Moisty to be more opportunistic. If you go back to the first series, I'd actually almost argue Spotto was more opportunistic in time, but less successful at it to an extent. Moisty's definitely been a lot cleaner. I'll give you that one. But we'll see. We'll see. We still have another team as well in that final.
That's
by
true.
the name of Yeah Right. You never know. Edge could be playing for them, and well, that could make things very interesting. Either way, it'll be Young playing through that corner. Love to see the ultimate opportunists get involved.
Yeah, I was trying to find that phrase actually before when I was trying to describe it, but I couldn't, and I thought that there would be a lot of angry people. Spotto didn't quite find that one, though, as Jad's going to clear it out wide. A big opportunity possibly for XVA. I mean, they are 2 goals up. Admittedly, it's still like relatively early into this game, but with how low scoring the last one is, individual goals will help out. That was a very silly little exchange there as the slow play pays off. And I'm worried they might just try it to me against. Oh, yep, there's a team touch, I guess we'll call it.
Yep, the team touch. We've seen a couple of those sort of slow plays actually cause the side of Sylvia to overcommit. They're pretty easy to fake because they always want to increase the tempo. Like, they're just a fast-paced team. That demo just opened up a door and Yonk is there. That's going to be a 3-0 lead. This is the largest lead I think we've seen all evening so far, Fetch.
Yes, I agree. I mean, last time we saw it, I think it was it XV or Curtin who came back from a 2-0 lead?
Yeah, it was a 2-0, but it wasn't a 3-0. This is
they made the 3 goals though. They did make the 3-goal comeback to win it, but I can't remember which team it was.
It was Curtin was up 3-1, and then and then XVA found 2 goals in the final minute, and then the goal in overtime to come back and win.
Yeah, so it's XVA who are the clutch ones. It sounds like in this situation, but again, Sylvia, we know that they have the things they can do. Obviously, they have things they can do, but they kind of know more or less what to do it, unless Moisty just gets shot in the middle of the field, passed off by Spotto. 4 might be a bit much.
I think it was in RLCS APAC South. It was Alki who pulled a 4-goal comeback in the final minute during, I believe it was the semifinal. It was either the semifinal or the grand final. So these score lines are comebackable. I mean, not quite there yet, but you never know. It could happen at any given moment. You just need that bit of forward momentum. And we saw how relentless on the attack Sylvia can get when they are actually able to play on the attack. Dan, unable to stick with this one, though, and it's another opportunity lost for the orange side.
Yeah, I mean, they are starting to get the demos back into momentum. Moisty almost finds that one. Dan just saves it. Yonkers to set up another play. Double commit on the defense, but no one there to kind of punish it. Actually, it might pay off for them as Jads gets a really good touch onto the shot. And there it is. It's going to be Manon trying to get the second touch. Dan tries to go for it again. Jads back again to try and get it. But 4 shots, no goals so far as Jads wants to try and get it back again. Waterfalls it down, just gets intercepted by the defender. Dan has another attempt. That was just 5 or so shots in a row, which just didn't come off for Sylvia.
As we do see what Dan is going to be able to do, passing it up to Spotto, but it'll be a swing and a miss from Yonk, who will be forced to race back now. Challenged again in that upper corner. I mean, this is that relentless attack that we wanted to see. And still with the minute remaining, had that shot gone in from Dan, maybe we could have seen that comeback in this game instead. It's looking like that the defense, which, again, I need to bring up, is the strong suit from XVA, is doing a good job in holding on. Good dunk from Dan. Manon is there, but a great rotation from Moisty makes the save.
Yeah, and it's going to be so frustrating right now from Sylvia. Their opponents know they just have to play defense. They can even let a few forward to let a few in. Dan does get that one. Set up and score as well. But you have 40 seconds, 3 goals. It's not hugely realistic. Especially with kind of XV knowing that they can just sit back and play defense. They don't have to worry about scores and opportunities and big clearances out.
No, we don't need to worry about those situations. We just need to stay focused on, well, keeping it as tight and as concise as possible. I feel that should be the name of the game for Sylvia, at least at this stage, as we watch that backboard pass to, well, no one. Spotto able to collect it. I don't see 3 goals in 30 seconds, unfortunately. I do feel like XVA is going to be able to hold on to this one and go to that Game 4 once again on match point. Yeah, right. Probably should be expecting to see this blue team perhaps, although you never know. We could be getting a Game 5 eventually. However, this is going to be Game 3 coming to an end with a very convincing victory for the team in blue.
Yes. very convincing indeed. They took the first one. Sylvia didn't seem to have too many answers in that one. They came back with what was a very tight game, one tiny play in it, and then a score like that is going to look incredibly dominant for our XV team. But of course, it is match point. You know, they haven't won yet. They still have to win a game. Sylvia, if they can pick up back-to-back games, if they can find a bit of momentum in the next one and then carry that one through, still a very real opportunity for them. But they do have to start doing some of the things we identified before, getting pressure on XV, tightening up their attack a little bit more, finding those passes and making sure they're connecting. Because it's not like they didn't have a lot of shots in that game, right? I think it's fair to say.
I mean, both of their losses, they had a lot of shots on it. It's definitely been Sylvia kind of leading that offensive tempo. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to just crack that defense. The defense from XVA, it is a very strong defensive side. It's where they're comfortable. It's where they'll consistently find these touches. And I love the defensive style. Like, I'm always low-key more of a fan of it because I always clamor for teams to be more aggressive, try to play a bit further forward. But that's just because that's where I kind of identify a team's strength in that. A lot of teams in these sort of bubble spots that aren't quite at the top of the region yet are more comfortable attacking than on defense. But when you find a team that is as defensively sound as what we're seeing from XVA right now, absolutely you should be playing to those strengths. You should be letting your opponents come to you, and you should be that annoying team that looks to shut everything down. I think the best example of this, at least in Oceania, would be Riot Gaming. At the moment, they are so good at getting an early lead, waiting for their opponents to misstep, and then punishing. And we're seeing that same style here in XVA.
Yeah, it's good if it works, especially because in a region like OS where everyone just slams for the goals, it can be like people can be less ready for it. Opportunity again here for Sylvia. No. Manon puts this one in at least. It looked a little bit dangerous for a second there.
So the thing about being a defensive team is you can't do that. You cannot have two players miss with the ball in front of the net. That is a big, bad no-no. That's going to give the game lead over to the team in orange right now. Sylvia going to be very happy with the double unforced error.
Yes, I think that's a very, very fair statement to say. And kind of like you identified in, I think it was the second game of this series, is that if you are a team like XV, you want to be playing from ahead. You don't want to be playing from a deficit. It's especially hard. Yes, they made that comeback, but that was against a team who was very willing to throw themselves at the attack and kind of give you those opportunities. Right now, Moisty tries to find an opportunity for themselves. One player in the breakaway has to beat out Spotto. Solo does it, but Moisty just there in time. That touch was super awkward, though. Ooh. The defense scrambling a little bit here from XV, but they are able to at least hold on.
As we see another shot on target is going to come through. You know what? I'm going to go so far. I think Manon is earning it in this game. I'm willing to call this player the honey badger of the team because when there is, you know, that sense of a weakness, it is a relentless attack just coming from Manon right now. And I think they will appreciate it just given who their profile pick is, but that matters not because, well, honey badgers are known for attacking. They can be tanks as well, but not this time. Moisty capitalizes. What a backward read. That's going to be a tie ball game.
Yeah, exactly. And it was Moisty being in the right spot. I don't know. I don't know if honey badgers are known for their quick redirections and things like that. No. Weirdly enough, there are a lot of very... Oh, Manon.
They're known for kickoff goals.
Yes, kickoff goals. I would say that's exactly right. That makes sense to me, you know?
That's exactly what honey badgers are known for. Oh, that's a good goal, though. And you know what? That's got to be a bit frustrating for the XVA side because they had to work for that last goal, right? Moisty coming off that backboard really had to earn it, but now Manon again finding that aggressive touch. Manon's stepping up right now, and it's right when the team needs him.
What's the phrase? We have to hope that Sisyphus doesn't get too tilted by a 1-goal deficit. I believe it's something along the lines of that. Dan, finds another one, another attack at least, but it's defended out. And now that Sylvia's finding their form on the attacks, finding those angles a little bit better, I'm really worried for XVA. They are having to put so much work in for the attacks, and even in spite of their strong defense, there's those attacking shots, which previously they weren't too worried about, are starting to land. Moisty does get up high, does keep the ball out of the hands of their opponents, but Dan is able to come at it from the angle. The side, Moisty is there for the pass. Actually, all three players whiff on that one. Whiffs are contagious, as we know. There's a couple more to add to the book, but Yonk tries to put an end to that little sequence as Moisty goes for it off the top, but no third player yet.
Yonk, I think, wants to take the past minute back. I've been watching them specifically, actually, through it all, and just kept getting cut off by teammates, getting stuck in no man's land, and when the opportunity was there, it wound up getting in the teammates' way. Very unfortunate redemption opportunity, and again, Yonk can't put it through. This has been a rough exchange, unfortunately, for the XVA player. Hopefully they can turn it back around. They have 100 seconds to find that equalizer.
Yeah, Young's defense and passes have looked alright, but I just cursed them. It's fine. It came off the wall. It's okay. It wasn't too bad. Moisty gets a bit of a demo. They're going to have to pull something quite quick to capitalize on it. It's going to be a respawn coming through. So Manon tries to set up an attack, tries to get a little bit tricky with it. Doesn't work out too well. Moisty wins that 50. A bit of problems on the defense, but they do get a touch for now. The problem with XV is, yes, they were doing really well when they can just hit defense after defense after defense, save after save after save. But the clearances, you know, they need a bit more space to work on those, and Sylvia is not giving it to them. But that said, Yonk tries to find a bit of space. Spotto puts it up high. It's off the backboard, but two players go up. Neither player gets the goal, and with 1 minute remaining, it's still going to be XV's attack.
I am so surprised that Sylvia didn't make it a 3-1 goal score right there. Yonk, I'm not sure if it was caught on like the stream camera, but just completely demoed Spotto just into the back of the net in the middle of all of that. But it's all good now. They were able to defend. It's not perfect. Still down a goal. Spotto is just going to go ahead and throw one all the way to that backboard. Follows it up as well, looking for that cross-up. Defenders are missing. Yonk is there, but off of that pinch, the ball will go back to the middle of the field. And it's looking like, Fetch, we could be seeing a Game 5 unless XVA can make something happen right now.
It looks like XV might have the attacky anxieties. They're just not willing to commit those players to those shots. They get a demo. Maybe that buys them some space to find a clearance. With 9 seconds out, you just have to make an attempt here. You can't afford to have the ball go back into your defensive line exactly like that. Sylvia know they just got to get touches here, and that's all. Just put the ball in the ground, and that is the second game for them. And now here it is. Match point for both sides. The final game in this best of 5 to see who gets the opportunity to go up against Yeah Right.
Oh boy. Comes down to 5 minutes here on the pitch. Only one of these teams will make it to that redemption game against Yeah Right, who beat both of these teams 3-1, might I add. And as a result of how that winner's bracket went, each of them will have to win not 1, but 2 best of 5 series. So it's going to be a tough ask either way. But first you got to get to that big dance, and that's what this game is all about. Game number 5 kicking off right now, and it's Spotto coming up huge on that kickoff, setting up Moisty. This duo has been XVA successes, but they're not going to get a quick opening goal this time.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they are, you know, the ball is going back in this corner. There's a bit of pressure coming through from both sides right at the moment. Dan tries to take that, get sort of 50 off it. It does go back to Manon, though, so they're keeping it alive for a little bit longer. Sylvia not being as decisive in the attack as we saw them. To be fair, there weren't a lot of great opportunities there. And now it's going to be Moisty. The solo effort isn't going to touch. No, that was almost glorious. Moisty plays like that. If you can connect them, do win you a series like this. But the ball is going to go, the attack is going to be flipped as Jazz tries to put it high, and Young just reads it and keeps the ball out of the defensive line, at least for a little bit.
I've been too spoiled with Ground Zero versus Renegades. And every time I see those situations, I expect it to go in. It's been ingrained in my mind right now, and it's not fair to hold these players to that same standard, but it's just so close sometimes when it gets to that position. I mean, look, they should have been able to get that. Just spike it through, get that impossible angle. Amphis can do it, Fever can. Well, why can't you?
I was gonna say, you know, the top 2 teams in the region. Yeah, that's fair enough. You did say they're not the best teams in the region yet, and I was gonna pull you up on that yet really hard. But you know what? This is good enough. They're you know, they should be there already. I agree with you. At the moment though, now. XV very, very solid in the defense.
I mean, XV beat a top 16 player.
It's true.
They beat Aiden.
They did beat an RLCS player. That's very true. Spotto is going to put this one off the backboard, an opportunity for attack. And can I just say, I think it was Spotto who put in a really great solo effort on the defense. It was only a solo effort because their teammates didn't need to get too involved. They were there in the play, but Spotto did a fantastic job on defense there. They aren't able to turn the tack around. Jad's a little bit further forward, doesn't get that touch. It could have been devastating, but an opportunity for a clearance out. Not going to happen, and Manon's just going to put the shot on.
Manon puts a delicate shot on, though, and it's going to be a pretty easy read by Yonk, who might have Moisty across the middle. No connection made this time around. Another opportunity, though, for Jads, who doesn't quite get the better of a spot. Oh, Manon's still there. As we go back and forth, I mean, this is a more of a mid-pitch attack, which is what I've been clamoring for someone to do against XVA for a good long while. I feel like it's when you get tight and in XVA space, they do well, but when you keep it further back, you get shots like this. Jads capitalizes, and that's going to be Sylvia with the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, really good stuff, and the slight sort of shepherd as well from the attacker there. I think there was to just kind of make the defense a little bit more awkward. But yeah, it was just about the pulling the defenders around, picking up the play. Really, really good stuff from Sylvia, showing that they are still a dangerous team on attack, even though they have missed a few goals in the past.
Yeah, they always will be that dangerous team, I feel like, on the attack. They just had to get it more midfield. They can't play too tight and too much in XVA's space. XVA is surprisingly strong when things get, tight and squishy. But when you spread them out, when you force them to be a bit more aggressive looking for interceptions, that's when they make mistakes as Jads goes for the reset. Unable to bang that one through. It was close, though, Fetch. It was close.
Yeah, close is true. I mean, a miss as good as a mile, as the old saying goes, but at least keeping the pressure on, at least keeping those attacking opportunities available. Spotto puts the shot straight down target, and of course, has plenty of time to react to that one and look at where they want to clear it out. Still holding onto that play quite nicely. Sets it up for Jads as well, who has the pass off to Man, and potentially a little bit behind the player. Spotto's going to try and spoil that one and set up an attack for their own team. That overextension was a little bit awkward from Man, and Yonk not quite able to capitalize on that one either. Spotto goes in for a 1v3 essentially. Oh, Yonk, that touch might have been dangerous, friend.
As we do see what Jads is going to be able to do. Oh, weird pass across that middle right there. It was a dangerous challenge, and now Dan has a chance. Only Yonk to beat, and Yonk comes through with the save. Man, and with that follow through, this time Spotto runs enough disruption. The constant shots are always so close, but no one quite able to bang it through. As we hit a final minute 15 on this clock, XVA, they desperately need those first goals. They didn't get it this game, and they haven't been able to get on the board yet. This could be the second shutout in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. This, actually, third shutout in a row, because the third game, wasn't that the game before that, a 1-0?
Yeah, but it was in XVA's favor.
That's true. But I was, I was thinking you were trying to make a very different point there. But at the end of the day, the one goal lead is not a huge amount though. At any point in Rocket League, you can get a goal scored against you. Heck, you could even score an own goal. So you can't be too reliant on it. But with 35 seconds left, the opportunities are closing around XV. There's a good setup play again by Moisty, and that pinch was fantastic. But they just don't have anyone who can quite get to it. Yonk does get demos, the numbers are there. Oh, the crossbar! It turned against XV. It is now a villain of the series, but with 15 seconds left, 3 players go into the corner. Dan's going to be the one to get the ball out. Actually, doesn't get the connection. Spotto doesn't either. The whiffs, they're back. It's a bad case of them this time as Yonk tries to put the shot on target. It's not quite there. Spotto's going to pick this up. Remember, that just because the time's hit 1 second.
Eyes on Yonk. Needs to come up big right here. Keeps it alive, but Dan gets there first. And that's going to do it for this one. Sylvia takes the series 3-2.
And there it is, a fantastic effort from them to keep themselves alive in the series long enough to get that rematch in the upper bracket finals, in the upper bracket, the grand finals, in fact. I don't know why I'm saying upper bracket. And it's going to be a rematch between Sylvia and Yeah Right. That's a big deal for these teams. They kind of had a shot at it last time. It went 3-1. Sylvia struggled a little bit, but who knows? They found opportunities. They looked a little shaky in parts in that series, but I expect this grand final should be quite solid, especially because they have the experience playing against Yeah Right. But the only way to find out about that one is to watch it, which is going to be coming on right after our break. We'll see you all very soon. Hello and welcome back. My name is Fetch. This is Formal. It's the Riverina Cup 2021 brought to you by City of Wollongong and, of course, AEL. Nice hat there you're wearing, Formal. Is it your playoffs garb?
It's the grand final hat. It has to come back out. It's a good one. I mean, like, it seems to fit, you know? Wagga Wagga. That's what we're doing this for, right?
Yeah,
City
that's
of
it.
Riverina. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, and obviously huge thanks to everyone who's helping put on this event as well, celebrating them. I'm sad I don't have any Riverina or Wagga Wagga gear, but you know what? I still love them. It's true. But we have a very exciting match coming up right away. It's right up against Sylvia, of course. There is potential for a bracket reset if Sylvia win this one, but if right can take it, that is it. That is the series done. It's been not the longest road. This tournament's actually been pretty quick, but it's been an intense one. I think we've seen favorites and champions rise and fall, both in our hearts and on the stage. And this is the conclusion of it. I can't believe we're here already.
I know, this is where it all comes down to right now. Again, I need to emphasize this so much. The level of play between this one and the event that happened last year has just risen so dramatically. So much, in fact, that RLCS players, they've already been taken out. Like, and that's kind of crazy to me, you know? They do come with that aura around them at times. Well, this time, maybe we'll see a different team come out on top at the end. It's going to be a big final, that is for sure. I'm just going to go ahead and say, players, you know what? Just go for it. Just go win. We're going back to Champions Field, Fetch. That's where we're going to be playing. Baba Yaga, Lucky Luke, and Siggy. They are that, right side, Sylvia. It's Man and Dan and Jads, and we are underway.
Yeah, and it should be exciting. The Champions Field as well, of course, always that big atmosphere. You see the big trophy in the background and everything. It's perfect for the series. AOC just immediately starts off with that demo straight away. I didn't update the scores and things, so if you give me 1 second, I'll do that. My apologies to everyone. It shouldn't take too long.
As Manon's going to go ahead and find the first goal, actually. So a little bit of a surprise right there. Manon, again, that same sort of in-your-face attacking style that saw minimal success against XVA, but that was because of XVA style. So I'm not surprised to once again see the side of Sylvia look for those really tight in-your-face attacking plays, keeping it as far forward as possible. It didn't work last series, but I think that's their strength, and they're going straight back to it.
Yeah, and if they can commit to it, if they can keep it going, that's got to feel pretty good for them. Of course, you know, they've got that opening goal. That's big. That's a huge thing for them. Plenty of time for to kind of come back into it. They have, both these teams have experience against them. The double touch doesn't quite come through, but Seiji is going on to pick it up. Jad's setting up the pass already, playing quite a fair way forwards. Dan doesn't have too much of a connection on that one, but Jad's able to still pick it up. 3 players back though, so it's going to be a huge effort. The cross was there, but again, no one able to pick up on it. Baba Yaga actually wrong-footed quite nicely by Jad's. In fact, almost just completely taken off their axle altogether. Jads now is going to try and push that one forward and bait out the defense a little bit, but it really does feel like Sylvia is so strongly in control of this game and the tempo of where the ball's moving. That
said, it's coming from their positioning on the pitch more so necessarily than their touches. And every time I'm seeing a clean touch taken by they're perfectly placed. Case in point. First we saw the defensive pass, then we see the attacking one. Baba Yaga crossed the field, nearly horizontal to the goal, just what they were looking for. Lucky Luke will bang that through. Tie ball game, 1 apiece.
Love Baba Yaga's Rainbow League as well. Just it goes so hard against the expectation based of the name. Mana now has it, is back on the defense, and Dan's going to try and clear this one out. If have woken up a little bit, if they have sort of found themselves in this series, a really dangerous situation to be in. Because of course that's the thing you talked about. The touches from are always perfect. Dan possibly in position to pick up that pass from Manon, but actually just looks to go for the rotate back. Sylvia have to kind of, you know, they have to find those opportunities on attacks. They were so good at getting the opportunities, but not so good at capitalizing them, I should say. Manon tries to pull that one forward, but Yaga going to be clearing it out wide. Jad's winning it. They're keeping the attack on, but they need to find something a little bit more than just shots.
As we do see Lucky Luke kind of take it back across that middle of the field. Baba Yaga will turn that into a strike out of the corner and in. 2-1 lead. The boogeyman strikes again.
It's true. They do find a pretty good 50 off that one straight into the goal. Looks pretty comfortable for them, as of course it does sometimes. Sometimes they are very good at making those sort of plays maybe not look easy, but yeah, kind of look easy when they are on the attack, of course. Pretty much every one of those right side is able to make these big plays, able to make these big setups and things like that. And as Baba Yaga trying to make another one happen, possibly a pass off to a teammate, one player just straight in to try and get the clearance out. Not getting too much in terms of like fast clearances right at the moment from Sylvia, but they are sort of trying to build to that one. They're trying to at least get there.
Do you see Manon eyeing up that next touch? Swing and a miss from Baba Yaga over the top. That will open up a doorway, though, for Lucky Luke. Nonetheless, wins a nice 50 against Jad. Dad forced on that backboard. Look, we haven't seen too much of Sylvia on defense. That last series, even in the games they lost, they were attacking more often than they weren't. So when we see those moments with them on defense, you have to admit they don't look as comfortable. But I don't know how much of that is because they're not really a defensive team, or how much of that is just because of how dangerous Baba Yaga and Lucky Luke have already kind of exposed themselves to be.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a very good point. It's kind of hard to judge a defense when the opponent's so good at setting up attacks, and it might also just be that they weren't playing a huge amount on defense in that last series as well. But I think that's not quite as much of a factor. Manon right at the moment are going to try and pull through this midfield control from their opponents, really struggling to set up much of the way of attacks. Baba Yaga whiffs on that one, and Jads gets a pass across to Manon, but again, like you said, the touch wasn't perfect, it was a little bit slow, and it means they get pushed back on defense, and that awkward touch almost got converted by the, I think it was Lucky Luke.
Almost had that read of two defenders missing. That could have been so devastating. Already, though, it is right with that 1-goal lead. A minute 10 remaining, and they're looking to make it 2. Baba Yaga this time puts it a bit too tight. Ball doesn't quite go in. A must-score opportunity right now for the side of Sylvia. They cannot afford to let momentum shift back against them.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, you know, there was a good attempt by Manon, gets immediately knocked out, and Baba Yaga now is going to be pulling this counterattack, letting it go. Seiji doesn't quite get the speed off the wall they might have liked, and Dan picks it up and carries it down the side of the field, but Lucky Luke is there for the clearance. Of course, Baba Yaga there as well, just hanging off that side goal, playing that backboard defense. I mean, Jads tries to put another shot on with the help of Manon, but doesn't quite work out. They just aren't able to break through this defensive line. It just doesn't look like they're testing their opponents much in the defense at all. Lucky Luke goes up for a 50 against Jads, wins it pretty comfortably once again. With 30 seconds left to go, it really is sort of do or die, at least in this first game.
Yeah, these final 20 seconds are going to be so intense. I have that feeling. As the ball does roll back over to the opposite side of the pitch, Jats will race back for it, collecting the ball in the corner, but gets bumped and thrown about. Segi just had to sit still, and the ball was delivered straight to them. 4 seconds to go. Desperation time for the side of Sylvia. They're in their box. They've got a distance to travel. It's a swing and a miss from one defender, but that causes Jats to hesitate, and takes game number 1.
Yeah, they do, and they look pretty good once they get going. They always look pretty good there. Sylvia not finding that kind of physicality as the game went on, you know? It wasn't something they were able to kind of, pardon me, be super reliant on when there looked like there were opportunities to. I think the one, like, bump we saw in the latter half of that game was good and almost put the shot on goal, but there were already 2 other players back.
Well, again, that, largely has to do with how we are seeing the play defense. They're a lot more spread out than what we saw from XVA. XVA like the clump. Jads off that kickoff likes to score quick goals. That's a 1-0 lead already for the team in orange.
What happened last time, but look, they beat out one defender. Baba Yaga just wasn't expecting that one, and it meant that they were able to sort of beat out the second one as well. A straight solo effort from Jad's fantastic work.
Yeah, that's a really good look from them. And, well, it kind of embellishes the point I was trying to make, where it's a lot more spread out, the defense, for than what we saw from XVA, and it makes those bump plays that much realistically harder to find and commit towards, because when everyone is clumped in front of the net and you go for the bump, you're still running disruption, right? But if someone's trying to play from the corner and you go from the bump, if you miss it, they're still in position, you're now well out of position, and it's a lot riskier to go for it. I think that's why we've seen less of that offensive physicality that we saw from the losers final, I should say.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's still an opportunity for that to kind of be built up. Dan has the opportunity to kind of play the 2v3 with the help of their 3v2, I should say, with the help of their teammates, but even that doesn't quite come through. At least there was a bit of pressure there on the defensive line. I mean, a few knocks, a bit more physicality coming out from Sylvia, but they still unable to find too much more. Dan gets a soft sort of pickup on that. Baba Yaga gets demolished, or a little bit less pressure on the defense, but Lucky Luke doesn't get it.
Oh, it should have been routine. In the past, it would have been. I feel like 9 times out of 10, that ball goes into the net. Very unfortunate for Yeah Right that they don't convert this time, although there's still time to try to find it again. Here comes Baba Yaga. 50-50 doesn't quite go the way they were looking for. Another opportunity, though, will be started by Seji. Avoids the bump. Manon slows it down, but has to find that second touch. Fortunately, is able to. Otherwise, Lucky Luke scores that.
Yes, absolutely. Like, they don't find too much of a struggle on it. There we are. Now the demos are coming through, targeting Baba Yaga mainly. Manon puts the shot on, a shot in the right direction, but not quite, like, accurate enough. That was a weird way to put it, but you know what I mean. Lucky Luke gonna try and get a clearance. They're trying to play this 3v2 game, and the pressure is definitely a lot more on the defensive line of Yeah Right. The fact they haven't been able to score either is a pretty big deal. So Sylvia, you don't want to hold a one goal lead at all. But they seem to be doing it, at least for now.
I mean, they're playing their style of Rocket League again. It's been a pretty much relentless attack on that goal for the past 30 seconds or so. It's been happening more from the midfield, and that's been causing a bit of struggles for the counterattack. Now it does come through. Lucky Luke had an eye on it. Dan, though, just gets all of that defensive clear up to Manon as well. Lucky Luke swing and a miss. Jad's opportunity, but can't corral it. What is going on? Eventually, Lucky Luke will create some space with the defensive touch.
Yeah, and, you know, they are able to clear it out for a little bit longer. Jads actually misses that touch. Manon is the one to pick it up, and Jads does get the receive of that pass. But Dan put the ball in a bit of an awkward position, slow played it. That's very dangerous against a team like this. You can get away with it against some of the other teams in this tournament, but I would be very hesitant against a team like Yeah Right, as they're going to try and carry it up the field now. Gets sort of pushed off the ball and gives Baba Yaga a bit of time to play.
So something that I'm noticing that I really actually like out of Sylvia on defense is they will slow the pace down, but then find the 50 that gets the most velocity out of it as possible. And the reason why this is good is because when they slow it down on defense, it is causing Yeah Right to cheat forward. And then when you get that sudden pop of acceleration, all of a sudden they're creating space on that back line. They're able to go the distance and get that ball all the way to the backboard quite regularly through their defensive efforts. It's a really nice mix and match. However, the one moment it messes up, it will turn into a goal. That wasn't it. That was just a case of 2 key bumps.
Yeah, 2 incredibly important ones. You see there Baba Yaga getting in the way of Dan, and that's just it, you know? That's the play. After that, Lucky Luke has all the time in the world. They also felt like the defenders were trying to cover for as many different passes as possible, because you kind of have to do that against a team like Yeah Right. You have to be aware that that is a possibility for them to set up some awkward pass and just flick a shot in from a different angle. Here's Jads going for the big individual play, but just gets shut down by Baba Yaga.
This is dangerous. This is very dangerous right now. That's going to go in. Oh, Baba Yaga, the bad man, gets another one through. 2-1 now in favor of Yeah Right.
That is such a weird lob, like, over the top. And it works out really, really well for you know, for the side of Yeah Right. They're already up 1 game so far. Sylvia had trouble finding a second goal on them. So, yeah, again, like, you never feel comfortable with 1 goal lead. You do feel comfortable with a 2 goal lead as Lucky Luke gets another.
This is turning into a disaster for Sylvia right now. Lucky Luke, just great control in that. Kind of fakes out that last touch. Both the defenders thinking they would keep it high, instead goes down low. But now we're in a situation where Sylvia needs 2 goals to tie, 3 goals to take the lead in a must-win game for them. If they lose this one, it is tournament point where they need to run a double bracket. They need to do the reset. And they could be down to the final game. They cannot afford to lose this right now.
Yeah, they have such a tight margin of error in this one. They need to at least get the reset, potentially. Yeah.
Oh, these lobs are so dangerous. And the thing is, it keeps having them guessing because, all right, it's a lob that goes high, then a lob that goes low, then a lob that goes high. They just can't read the lob.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, I guess, when you're expecting such a high velocity attack to then see something which is much slower, much more awkward. It can be tricky to kind of to match against. You know, it's the mix-up.
It's the ephus. The dreaded ephus pitch. Oh, that's not an ephus. That's a fastball down the center. Beggy makes it 5-1.
See, I was really trying to avoid the baseball reference because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the fighting game again. Fighting game friends need affection, I reckon. And yeah, no, but baseball reference, that works too. I like it.
I mean, go fighting games. See, here's the thing: you should go fighting games because I always throw these traditional sport references around, and usually co-casters so get them. You can throw fighting references. I won't get them. It would be some good karmic justice, I feel like.
I mean, I don't know enough about fighting games. I just kind of know them from other people, so it would be disingenuous to some extent. But they do get angry when we say mix up too much, so it's almost funny going the other way. Baba Yaga gets another one. 17 seconds left to go, and
speaking of tired references, we're one goal away from another one.
Yeah, it's true. You might be right on the money with that.
Oh boy.
do you think Yeah Right have realized the opportunity?
I know they have, but
oh, absolutely.
I mean, everyone recognizes these opportunities. They're the most important goals in the game, and that's how come they're trying to take own goals right now. Apparently, Segi and Dan kind of has that one go screaming towards the net. It's not going to go in this time, and I don't think we're going to South America today. Final scoreline will be 6-1. Yeah, right. Though more importantly, tournament point going into Game 3 of our grand final.
And Yerai looked so good doing it. For the first half of that game, I really thought that Sylvia might have had that, but holding onto a 1-goal lead is such hard work. And at the end of it all, yeah, they just weren't quite able to do it. And Yerai just saw score 6 in a row in what was 2 minutes 30 seconds, I believe, or pretty close to.
This is going to be a very, very interesting game, I feel like, because unless we see Sylvia go off to that fast start, I'm going to wonder if they're really going to be in this series. Momentum always that big thing, and that game was devastating for them, considering tournament point, considering the stakes. They cannot afford to kind of limp out in this one. I like that initial attempt. I like Manon's positioning, but they don't turn it into the kickoff goal.
And, you know, Sylvia, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sylvia have had the opening goal in every one of these games.
Both games. They had a 1-0 lead until like the 2.5-minute mark, and then we saw 6 goals get scored, and that's going to be another. The pass in traffic makes it 1-0 for Yeah Right.
The first time they've scored the opening goal in this game isn't an omen formal. Are they going to lose it? I don't think so with how good they're looking right now. As funny as curses are, I just don't think it's going to be coming to fruition in this one.
No, I don't know either. We need to see more from the defense, unfortunately, from this orange side. Like, again, I was complimenting them before how they were able to slow the pace down. However, they haven't been even able to get possession, it feels like. Some of the strikes that we've been seeing since that stage of the series out of Yeah Right have been so devastating, and they've been coming from their own side of the pitch. Case in point, Lucky Luke does it again. 2-0 now in favor of the team in blue.
It was something we saw XV use against Sylvia. I think Yeah Right have a lot of tools they can use against Sylvia, against pretty much any team in this tournament. But it just shows that they can do that as well. And yeah, it's effective. It's strong. With strikers like these, you can score goals from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the theme at this stage as we get ever closer to a interesting situation, actually. Ball bouncing around from the net. This could be a tough one to read. Segi and Jats kind of look at each other. Jats will be the one with possession, looking to drive it back to... Oh, everyone's swinging and missing until Baba Yaga will create some space. Manon pops one up, tries to follow it from up above, but Lucky Luke's already waiting underneath. 3:44 still to go. Plenty of time for that comeback, but again, we just need to see that one goal, I think. We need to see Sylvia get something on the board that they can build around. At the moment, they're not even getting shots.
Yeah, and that's, you know, considering that's their style, it's a bit of a problem. Lucky Luke off the backboard, no one there to pick it up. Jads tries to put the ball out, but he can't even find the clearance there. Man, not able to hold on to that one either.
Jads bumped Segi into it. It was an open net. Jads goes for the bump. Segi had an awkward read, and Jads wound up hitting Segi straight into the ball. Look, sometimes, some plays, they just are not going to go your way.
Yeah, it feels like there's been a few of those from Sylvia. Hey, look, another one. There's Jads. Jads is just not seeing opponents. They've just turned the car, like, the display car setting off, and are just like, ball, let's go. Baba Yaga just pushes that one in. Of course, I'm not being serious. They're just so, like, you know, trying to focus on setting out the play. It's easy to do.
Look at this demo. Bam!
I didn't realize how clean that demo goal was.
Yeah.
Until the end. Till the replay, sorry.
3-goal lead, under 3 minutes to go. I'm not calling for the victory lap just yet. However, Yeah Right fans out there, they should be getting pretty excited because they have looked better and better with each passing game in this series. I mean, maybe they needed that game one to warm up, and when you win your warm-up game, You usually win the series. That's where they're looking to be right now. They are looking to be this Riverina champion squad as it's now desperation time for Sylvia. Can they put some points on the board? Jabs goes for the 2v1, and Lucky Luke comes out on top.
Yeah, Lucky Luke finding those aerial contests pretty comfortably. I mean, it's still like there are plenty of time on the clock. There is plenty of time on the clock as Dan tries to pull this one straight down the field. But, you know, Seiji kind of keeps these attacks going and tries to, you know, keep the ball again in the sort of defending half of Sylvia. It's what happened to them in one of their losses in the last series. They just don't sort of have the avenues always to clear it out and to be that team who can counterattack like that. With 3 goals left, it feels like, yeah, right, have this one in the bag.
It really does feel like, yeah, right, probably will be the team that's going to take this, although, yeah, it's going to keep things interesting.
Yeah.
Keep things a little tight. I mean, we'll get credit for this one. Just had a nice little dunk. Waterfalls the ball in, and I guess, do we count that as our one own goal? Because we haven't had one yet.
I think that we're trying to force the narrative at that point. I don't think that's an own goal.
All right, yep, not an own goal. I'm with you. Not an own goal. I don't want to force the narrative. I want the narrative to die. I'm sick of own goals in our region. I know that's sacrilege, but I'm over it. Over it now.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we set up. We're going to become the ultimate defensive region. No one's ever going to score. It's going to be like 5-minute overtimes, and I'm down for that. I'm not really. Please don't. Please don't.
I like that. No, I want that one. I want to be the ultimate defensive region. Ooh, Baba Yaga missing an open net. Uncharacteristic. Minute and a half to go. Maybe, just maybe, Sylvia's still in this.
Yeah, potentially. They do only have to find a couple in this time. We mentioned before they were able to make a comeback like this earlier. Only did it in about a minute. So, you know, if they can find that momentum, they can turn it on. Jad's passed off to Manon. Manon does actually get the touch past that extra defender, so it's a 1v1 for now. Lucky Luke puts it in the corner. Does a good job of getting back to the defensive line as well. Right there, Dan, you know, tries to keep the play active once again, but with 1 minute ticking, it might actually be a goal. But Baba Yaga clears it out wide. That's an own save, at least.
Yeah, there was a defender back there, but I actually don't think they were going to make that read. Baba Yaga a bit premature in shutting that shot down to keep possession. We'll see what happens from here. Under a minute to go. Oh, the net was open. Lucky Luke, though, stops Jad's shot at that last moment. Now Baba Yaga will find the clear off the defensive pass. Manon all alone versus Segi and Yaga, but still is able to find that interception, find the space. 30 seconds to go. Jad's with a chance. Doesn't put it straight.
Yeah, not quite enough. I mean, you know, the attempts are still there, but they're just not quite coming through. Lucky Luke's going to go on the counterattack right here. A goal would be devastating. That'd seal it. Lucky Luke outplays 2 of them, and it almost finds that angle. Doesn't quite. Is just looking to look a little bit stylish at this point.
Yeah, at this stage, though, 10 seconds to go. Manon needs to hit this one through, but Lucky Luke saves the game, saves the tournament, and secures, yeah, right, the Riverina Cup. Clock hits 0. Ball goes in. Off of Dan gets credit. That might be our own goal fetch, but it matters not because, yeah, right, are our tournament champions.
They are, I mean, yeah, there is in the own goal. We got so far through it, but yes.
Survived.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, come through at the end. Seiji with the little tennis hat. I love it. I don't know why. But it was such a long, such a hard-fought tournament, I should say. It was a rather short one, but so hard fought, such incredible displays of talent coming through. Let's bring us back to the challenge screen. There we are. Such a hard fought tournament, incredible displays of talent from so many of the teams. I saw players who way exceeded my expectations, getting knocked out in like losers quarterfinals, you know, and things like that. We saw, RLCS player getting knocked out in the semifinals, even if not, you know, the top 10 or anything like that, players, but still someone who is up there and competing at the highest, competing against teams at the highest level, and that's incredible. I'm so glad I got to be a part of this tournament. Of course, thank you to AEL and the city of Wagga Wagga for putting this event on. But it was really fantastic, and again, I'm just so glad we got to see it and got to stream it as well. So hopefully everyone else at home could enjoy it just as much.
Yeah, I certainly did. I think it was a lot of fun. Definitely elevation from what we saw last year. I think that's the big overarching theme from this tournament. More teams, higher level, tougher competition, and I think more fun overall. And that just has me excited to see where we go from here in the future. What will be next year's Riverina Cup? I mean, I like where things are going right now, and I would be very excited to see if we can top it once more.
Yeah, we'd suddenly start seeing all of the player bases move to Riverina area just to play in the tournament, and it's just all the top teams. I love it. Let's do it. I'm keen, you know.
I'm so keen for that.
But that was it for us for 2021, of course. There is other action going on around the place at AEL, and of course we are casting our own events. Right there, it is at Formal Casting. Down here, it is at the_far_fetched. And of course, thank you again to all our sponsors here and below me, Chatime, Predator, AOC, Indomie, and Rig. Thank you so much, Formal, for making this whole event that much more exciting and bringing your expert analysis and insight to the games. Thank you all for watching.
Never call me an expert. That's dangerous. That's dangerous talk right there.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm sticking with it. If people want to flame me, there's a link below at the_fetched. Go for it. Try to follow before you do, though, preferably. But it's jokes aside, fun aside. Thank you all so much for watching. Formal, do you have any closing thoughts before we sign off?
Nah, you know, it was a lot of fun. Great to be here as always. I see you, chat. I finally figured out how to actually read the chat at the very end, and so, you know, it is what it is. Thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, look forward to next year.
All right, see you all in the new year, hopefully.